The Whirlwind HotA Barbarian was the pinnacle of power in Season 2 and 3. After big nerfs to HotA, it's been forgotten. We're bringing it back. It looks a lot different this season than it has in the past, but it is still so much fun to play. This video is something that I've never done before, and I need feedback from Barb Nation. I built this planner live, and I explained the affixes, aspects, and tempers, along with the skill tree. I will be posting a normal build guide for this build, but is this type of video interesting to you? Should I continue to post more on-stream building with a little bit of Q&A thrown in there? Please let me know in the comments. Here's the planner. All right, so Whirlwind HotA. We're running Harlequin's Crest here. And then chess piece, we're going to be running Imperial's Might. There's quite a bit that goes into these. I don't. I'm sorry. We're running Earth Strikers here, I believe. Wait, hold on. What are we running? Yeah, Earth Striker. Okay. So we're running Earth Striker aspect here. So the reason we're running Earth Striker aspect is this gives Hammer of the Ancients the guaranteed overpower. I tested it out earlier. Leap will eat the overpower, but we're not leaping as much as we're whirlwinding and HotAing. So in the skill tree here, whenever HotA overpowers, it is... Wait, hold on, let me look. The new Shaco with the greater affix, yes. No problem, Kaloy. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. So because I'm guaranteeing an overpower with the Earth Striker's aspect, HotA will give me 30% more damage when it overpowers. Whirlwind does not overpower at all. So because I'm using Hammer of the Ancients and Whirlwind, this will never overpower, so all of my guaranteed overpowers from Earth Strikers go to Hammer of the Ancients. So this is giving me guaranteed 30% extra damage. And then the extra damage that I'm getting from it doesn't really matter all too much. It's just because it's going to boost Hammer of the Ancients. I've tried to run this build without Undying, but the healing that you get and the way that I built this to heal is a ton when you're running Undying plus Raid Leader. And what that does, hey Josh, that gives me the ability to use Tyrael's Might, because you have to be at full life. Not healthy, but full life. So your life has to be tapped out. So if we're running Undying, we're always healing. I'm good, Josh. On the boots, and this is for speed running more, so for pushing I might change this, but on the boots we're running Ghostwalker. Whenever you're using Whirlwind, you actually lose anywhere from about 40 to 49% movement speed. So if you want to speed run, you actually need to be able to run a lot of movement speed abilities like Ghostwalkers. When I'm running Ghostwalkers, I get more of a benefit when I'm running Charge, because Charge gives you Unstoppable every time you use it. But that extra 25% movement speed plus Berserking gives you 15% movement speed, makes up for the deficit that Whirlwind gives you. On the weapon, we're running Berserk Ripping. This ability is very interesting because there's a lot of different abilities that don't work with it that look like they would work with it. But whenever you're dealing direct damage while berserking, you have to be berserking. And this is the key that a lot of people miss out on. When you're not berserking, you will not be using any bleed. Hey, Slim. So if you're not using berserking and your berserking is down, with all of these bleed builds that we're running, except for Flay, because Flay generates bleed, we will not be getting any. You're going to be hitting like with a wet noodle. You will do no damage whatsoever. So when you're running a bleed build on a Barbarian this season, that's not Flay, you have to be using Berserk Ripping, but you have to be using things that will give you Berserking. So things like Warcry gives you Berserking, Wrath of the Berserker gives you Berserking. Hey, Labeling, how's it going? And then there's a lot of different ways to keep that up. I run Leap because Leap also has the ability to give you Berserking when you're running, what's it called? Battle Fervor. Anytime that you damage something with Leap, which is a brawling skill, you gain Berserking. So as I'm leaping around through these dungeons, every time I hit a monster, I get Berserking. In your Paragon board, when we kill something, right here through Blood Rage, you have a 10% chance to run Berserking. There's a ton of different ways to generate Berserking, but if we're not Berserking, we don't do any damage. The biggest issue that people have when they get to boss fights is that they're not Berserking, and then they don't die. So, aspect of Berserk Gripping, you have to be Berserking. The base damage, we were just talking about this in Discord today, is really weird calculations. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't work with it. If you want a full breakdown of what doesn't work with it, hop into the Discord and hop into the Barb channel, because we have it right there. On the weapon, we're doing Dust. Fierce Winds. So this is generating our Whirlwind, or our Dust Devils, every time we cast a Shout. Let's see, am I in the way? No, kind of. My treadmill's in the way, though. Hold on, let me kill the treadmill real quick. This treadmill always comes out. I need to move my whole setup around this office here. Kill the treadmill, kill the treadmill, kill the treadmill. Okay. The Whirlwind, or the Dust Devils, actually, if you're Berserking, cause bleed as well. So this is super good. I have not done that, but I've heard about it. Hey, Captain. That's always a good one. Every time that I hop into Charlie's stream, somebody's always doing that one. It's so good. So on the other weapon, for this we're running Devilish. Now this is cool with this build here. And the reason that HotA Whirlwind is making, and what I think, I haven't tested it out yet, which I'll probably do this, but I think that HotA Whirlwind is creating more Dust Devils than any other build because of this. Every time that you generate 100 Fury, you are casting 2 Dust Devils. Now we have a chance to double cast, right? So we're chance to cast 4 potentially, if everything works out really well. But I am generating a ton of Fury because we're running a weapon swap build. We're running these skills down here. Each weapon swap we generate up to 6 Fury. Now that 6 Fury is multiplied by your resource generation, which we're running quite a bit of resource generation as well. And then in the Paragon board here, this is the key to this whole build working. We're getting 4% of our Fury right here when we swap, of our max Fury. Not of our just our regular, not just 3 Fury, not whatever our max Fury is, getting 4% of that. And then that is also multiplied by our Fury generation, or our resource generation. So we are generating that 100 Fury incredibly fast, just by swapping weapons. So when you see me leap into a group, that generates Fury. That's 40 Fury. Then I hammer, and then I Whirlwind. That's generating Fury. And when I shout, that's doing things. Hey, chill. So this is actually generating a ton of Fury, which is what's making this work. For this, we're running our Grandfather. This is, like I showed everybody, this is doubling my critical strike damage, which is super important. For the ring, I'm running Starless Sky. I do switch this back and forth between 2 different aspects, but for this one, we'll just run Starless Sky. This gives... We use this only for the aspect. And like I said, Uber Uniques this season are actually not really super great. Remember to put that what... Oh, I do. Yes, I will do that. 100%. I have done that on all of mine. Which we'll talk about that too. So this right here, we're using this for the aspect because the Uber Uniques really aren't as strong as the Tempering right now. Or, and I don't have any greater affixes on this, but whenever we spend resources, we're getting a 50x multiplier for our damage, which is big, but we're also spending 50% less resources, which means my Whirlwind costs 50% less and my Hammer of the Ancients costs 50% less. So that means that it allows me to just constantly spam, and I'm generating more Fury than I'm spending because the resource cost goes down by so much. Which, generating more Fury is great because I want to be able to keep up the devilish aspect here. I want to just keep on going, so I don't ever run out of Fury because they cost less, so I just keep on going and going and going with it. For the ring here, which one was I running on this one? Ring, we're running, Giant Strides, right. This is because I'm running Leap. So Giant Strides helps tremendously on boss fights. I'm not too worried about it when I'm not running, or when I'm running through trash, because the trash dies really quickly, but for boss fights, this is huge. 5 seconds off when I'm hitting let's see, 5 seconds per enemy hit, or reduces the cooldown of Leap by 2.5 seconds to 5 seconds per enemy hit, maximum of 9 seconds. Hitting a boss provides the maximum cooldown. So you lose 9 seconds off of the cooldown of Leap. So if you look at the cooldown right now, I have a 12-second cooldown here. So I'm also running things that reduce cooldown throughout the run too. So when you leap on a boss, you have almost no cooldown left. And remember, Leap is generating new Berserking, which generates our bleed, which we need to do for boss fights. So running Giant Stride was a game changer when I wanted to push bosses with this build. For the amulet, we are running Dust Devils. So this is just every time that we cast Whirlwind. And remember, I'm alternating back and forth between Whirlwind and HotA. So I cast HotA, cast Whirlwind, cast HotA, cast Whirlwind. And it's generating Dust Devils every time that I do it. So that's super important. And we put it on the amulet because it gives us the most out of all of them. This one right here is 7,200. If I put either of these on, it would be significantly less. So we're running that on the amulet here. For the skills, technique is always going to be the axe for your expertise. I finally just went and did my level 100 Barbarian quest the other night. Everybody's here for it. I went and got my expertise unlocked. And then skills, we're going to be running for this particular build. Hammer of the Ancients, which is here. Which Hammer of the Ancients has to use a bludgeoning weapon. There's no way around that, so you have to use bludgeoning weapon. Then we're running for Whirlwind. I actually might change this up. I'll test it out when we start running again. But for Whirlwind, I'm running Slashing Weapon. No, I can't change it up. It has to be Slashing Weapon. So in order to... The only reason I do this... And now, if I ran Bludgeoning Weapon here, this would actually do more damage. But because we're running a weapon swap build, I have to be able to swap weapons. So if I set this to Slashing and I set this to Bludgeoning, now every time that I use the two, I swap weapons. This has to use Bludgeoning Weapon, so I can't put them both here. If you do that, if they're both Bludgeoning and you run out there and you generate Fury, your Fury's gone. Like that, it's gone. So you have to have both. For this one, we're also running Leap. Hey, Rave. So what I did for Leap is we're running Dual Wield. Now, when I Leap, Whirlwind, and HotA, I've done 3 swaps. And you only need a total of 8 here in order to get your weapon swapping and to get your guaranteed overpower. So now your rotation, you do 1, 2, 3, and then you swap just a couple more times, and then you Leap, and you've already hit your guaranteed, and you get your 30% increased damage. And then we're just running Triple Shout here for this. You don't have... There's a couple different things. If you wanted to run Iron Skin, you could. You could run Conceited if you needed to also, but I'm running Triple Shouts. I know. I know. It's okay. We're explaining it here. And I'll have it in the video too when I make a video for this. For this, because we're running Tyrael's Might, and Tyrael's Might gives you so much resistances, if you just run, diamond, 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 what you want to shoot for is not getting your Masterworking Crystal to fall on the max, or on the resistance all. You want it to, and I got lucky here, fall on the max resistances. So now with max resistances, oops, go back to that. This is what resistances look like. We're now running 81% damage reduction. So for Tyrael's Might, this is what we're running, and this is actually really important for this build and for a lot of the bleed builds. You run 3 diamonds, and then you run Tyrael's Might here. I do have a resist all greater affix on my boots too, so you do need more than just Tyrael's Might, but that does help quite a bit. And then for now, this is where you're gonna mix this up. So the cap is 70. That's a soft cap. There are ways to go over for, and if you look at Tyrael's Might, maximum resistance to all is 11%. So there are ways. Some of the elixirs allow you to go over 70, but from gems and gear, you can only get 70%. You need to run specific things that increase past 70. So that's it. Ace, go. So for your armor and your weapons, this you can change up. And I messed around a little bit with this. If you're running sapphires, it's going to give you more vulnerable damage, which my vulnerable damage is actually low. If I wanted to run green gems, which are the emeralds here. Oh, you did it! Congrats. Does that mean you passed law school? So if you want to run emeralds, emeralds actually give you critical strike damage, which multiplies with gushing wounds. So if your vulnerable damage is high, but your critical strike damage is low, then you switch these all to emeralds. If your vulnerable damage is low and your critical strike damage is high, then you put them all to what's it called? Sapphires. So for your armor, and this is where you have different choices too. You're either going to, so for this one, I'm just going to run sapphires. Your armor, and I always am going to leave this on rubies because this is going to be the safest bet for anybody that is looking at a build guide. Gives you max life, and a lot of max life, not a little bit. 9% is a ton, especially across the board. 45% increased life in your armor is a big thing. So if you are feeling squishy, your armor's not capped, or your resistances aren't capped, or something is not right, you go with rubies. For me, I feel fine, so I have been running, depending on where I've been trying to keep around 80%. I'm running an elixir here that's giving me 4%, so I'm at 80, which is why I have 3 emeralds, because the emeralds give you critical strike chance through dexterity, because dexterity gives you that. And then I'm running 2 strength gems, because strength is a skill damage multiplier. 10% of all of your strength goes into an increased damage. So if you run strength in your gems because you're not dying and you're feeling safe and you're comfortable running the content that you can run, you put strength in, it's going to increase all of your skill damage. It's really big. Is this build better than your last video you posted? This build is completely different, Sko. The Whirlwind build is super fun. I highly suggest it. So if you need to, hop into that one. All right, so now we get to the tempers. So we're gonna do, obviously, if you, actually, you know what, we're gonna do this here. I'm just gonna do this safe because getting 3 triple is hard. For this build, and maybe even for a Whirlwind build, getting resource generation actually isn't a bad thing. If you're running out of Fury and you wanted to even temper, you could even go higher here with resource generation. Because resource generation, like we said, that if even honestly with this build, if we want to start pumping out more with more Dust Devils with the Devilish aspect, you just pop 3 into here and then resource gen goes up. But honestly, like cooldown reduction, you can't really beat. So we're gonna go 2 and 1. Yeah, I know it's a lot, Rave. And then for this one here, maximum resistance. We talked about this a little bit for Tyrell's Might, maximum resistance. Whirlwind and HotA. This is different than your regular Whirlwind build. This season, Whirlwind does not get any benefit from attack speed. Next season it will. You do benefit from attack speed though in this build. And the reason that you benefit from attack speed is that attack speed not only allows you to just hit things faster, it allows you to swap between skills faster. Because we're running a weapon swap build, we want to swap as fast as we can, so you need attack speed to swap between the two weapons. So for this build in particular, we're going to be running attack speed. We still need critical strike chance, right? So we still want to run critical strike chance. And then depending on which one we're going to be doing, whether you're running pole arms, whether you're running grandfather, but for the grandfather build, I have critical strike damage. So we're going to put critical strike damage onto here, which is somewhere in this board, critical strike damage. And for the tempers, for mine, I'm going to put it in like how I have it, just to get my stats all the way up. I need damage while berserking here, because I'm not quite capped. So I'm going to put damage while berserking onto this. But damage while berserking will get me capped if I put it here. It's so much fun, Rave. Honestly, it's really worth it. They're both kind of spins. If you haven't hopped into one before, the Whirlwind build is pretty easy to go. We're going to run with crowd control duration because there's really not much out there. I don't want to stun anything. I'm not running Iron Skin, so we're not going to be running Barrier Generation. So we're just going to run with crowd control duration. Who wants to power level a new tune? Yeah. So for the pants, we're going to be running armor here, because this is where we're going to get our armor cap, because we're just over, right? 9,230 is your max cap. I will give you a little demo as soon as I'm done with this planner, Gnarls. It is so much fun. I cleared 125 last night, and I had barely finalized the planner. I cleared 115 at level 93. I cleared 115 pits at level 93. So we're going to be running strength here. We're going to be running max life, and then we're going to be running armor. Tempers, pretty normal. Crowd control duration because there's not much else, and then imposing presence is what you want to run. So we'll put imposing presence here, and then crowd control duration here. I don't want to be stunning things, right? Because I want things to be running into the whirlwinds as we're going. Hey, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Thank you. Because if they're stunned and they're not chasing me, then they're not going to hit the crowd. So I don't want to be running concussion here. How did I cover resistances on the Dust Devil lead build? So for resistances, we're running Tyrell's Might here, and then we have resistances here. So even if you don't have greater affixes, you should still be fine with Tyrell's Might and then running diamonds. You may not be at 81%, but as long as you're over 70, you're fine. So for the boots, I have great boots, but I also have terrible boots because I have movement speed increase on evade, and that's the worst out of all of them. Personally, I really love the attacks reduce evade cooldown because it comes up very, very quickly. But you can run either one of them. And then we're running, as you guys saw, we're running movement speed, which I got really lucky. I was hoping for a triple on movement speed, but we didn't get that. Oh wait, we forgot to do this. We're going to do 2 and 1 here. And then we're going to do, depending on where your armor is at, you can put a couple into here, but I wanted, let's see. We'll do 2 in opposing presence, 1 in strength. For which build? This is my Whirlwind HotA build. This isn't my Whirlwind build. And then for this one, so movement speed, we want resist all because it's where we're going to max out our resistances. Resistance to all, and then ranks to Warcry for the extra damage. Now, somebody was actually talking to me about this in the stream the other night, because this is definitely an option. Wait, not even on here. Ranks to Warcry. So then tempers for the boots, I'm running barrier generation, which I didn't want, but these boots are bricked. I actually have been running around doing all of this. I cleared 125, and we cleared 115 at level 93 with brick boots and with brick pants, or gloves. It's gloves. So you don't need perfect gear to do stuff. So if you don't get the perfect gear, but it has most of the stats with it, put it on, run with it. I took both of them to rank 12 of masterworking. Get your masterworking done. Don't wait. Do not wait. Barrier generation, whenever you pop a barrier, like from Iron Skin, which is where the only barrier that we have, it increases the amount of that barrier. So it tells you exactly how much percentage you get of that barrier. So barrier generation increases that. So it gives you essentially more barrier, which is nice. But I'm not running Iron Skin for this. So we're running, let's find these codes. It actually takes a while to build these planners, if you guys haven't seen. So we're getting more movement speed because I want movement speed is life. We're always trying to get as fast as we can go. I don't want steel grass stuns because we don't want things stunned. We don't want stun duration. I'm not running thorns. I'm ready to get crowd control duration because I'm not running Iron Skin with this build. If it is something that you like, because a lot of people love running Iron Skin, you absolutely can do that. It is definitely a good option. So for the amulet, this is a tough choice. I dropped movement speed, so our speed runs are going to be a little bit slower. But we're running attack speed, which we talked about, which you need. Critical strike chance, which you absolutely need. And then heavy-handed, which does a pretty decent chunk of critical strike damage. Now, if you're killing things really fast and your goal is to run speed farming, you can always switch that out. I think I have another amulet in here somewhere that has movement speed on it. Yeah, so I have this one here. You could run something like this too if you wanted to. So you could run movement speed and then I'd be capped. But for now, I'm going to just stick to attack speed, critical strike chance, and then, which is very hard to find, but we're going to do ranks to heavy-handed. And then I actually do want the tempers on probably attack speed and then heavy-handed, not critical strike, not imposing presence. Well, I haven't really needed it. My Flay Barbarian, I've cleared into the 140s. I actually even took my Flay Barbarian on the PTR into tier 200, and I survived without running Iron Skin and without any imposing presence. Because the ability to get so much life in this season is there, everybody like freaked out because it was like, it's amazing. Like running 100,000, 500,000 life, like it seems awesome. But if you build a board right and you learn how to run the builds, you don't necessarily need it. There's other ways around this. If you have enough DR, then they're going to hit you for a lot less, so you don't quite need as much. So you can put tempers into other places. If you find yourself dying, temper into imposing presence. There's really nothing wrong with that. Having a good amount of life, but like this is the life that I went and I cleared 125 with. So your characters are going to be based on how you feel. If you feel like, I could always put gems into my gear and increase this by 45%, right? So I would go up to almost 50,000 life if I wanted to, and then imposing presence would give me even more on top of that. So it really just like, it depends on how you want to build the build. Is it a matter use two-handed mace or axe? Or which? Let's go. And then for the amulet for the tempers, like I said, we're running damage while berserking because I needed that, and then imposing presence here. So we're actually going to do 2 into attack speed and then 1 into heavy-handed here, but we're going to do damage while berserking because I need that, and then I'm imposing presence here. This is just how my character is working out, so I'm going to put exactly what is on my character here. This makes it pretty easy. Damage while berserking somewhere. Damage while berserking. Did I pass it? Nope. Okay, perfect. And then this one, I actually wanted a triple here, but I didn't get it. So actually, just in case, we'll do double nickel here. Because getting triple's hard. Getting a triple's really hard. So putting it on in a planner to triple something, I guess it shows the importance of like this here, but like if I really wanted to, you could just do like here and then all resistance to help cap out. Putting triples on can stress the importance of it, but it also puts a lot of stress on people when you feel that you have to get a triple on something, and then you're just constantly over and over and over and over again just spending gold and spending resources. So I don't think I'm gonna put triples on almost anything. This doesn't really matter too much. Yeah, and the thing is, the triples are off the base. It's not off of what you already have. So you're only getting 25% of the base number, not 25% of what you've hit. So it seems like it's going to be a big increase. And where we realized this was with Ramalodni's early on in the season when I was tempering it. I went from 49 Fury, max Fury, to 54. And I hit a triple. 49 to 54. That's only 5. If I was to spend millions and millions and billions of gold trying to hit a triple for 5 Fury, no. Not really worth it. So if I get lucky and I hit a triple like I did tonight on my gloves, which first try, I didn't even have to reset it once. Went straight to a triple. If something like that, keep it, mark it in there as a win for you. But it's definitely not 100% worth it. Sometimes I've done that too. Yeah, Rave. I've definitely done that. Most of the time though, I stop and then I move on. Call it quits for the night. So let's finish up the ring. Attack speed, critical strike chance. And then I actually think that did I go vulnerable on this here? I went critical strike. Oh yeah, I wanted to go vulnerable on this. That's where I'm missing my vulnerable, because if I went with vulnerable on the ring, that would put me to almost 500%, and then I would be at almost a 10 to 1. But I don't have it here, so the ring is not exactly what I want. Yeah, pick your battle. So I'm going to go vulnerable damage on my ring. And then for the tempers, for this one here, we're running Warcry cooldown and then critical strike damage. Now, if you wanted to, you could actually run Brawling cooldown here for a temper, because then it's going to affect your leap, and it's also going to affect your Warcry too. So you got double the cooldown if you went with Brawling. So I'm going to put Brawling instead of Warcry cooldown, because if you run a charge as well, now you're getting all 3 of them are getting cooldown. And then the other one was critical strike damage. So we gotta find that. Critical strike damage from the rogue. And then we're gonna go with Brawling cooldown here. And then we're gonna do a single and a double, because I think that's what I would prefer. This is a double and a 0. Actually, I don't need any more critical strike damage if it's greater affix, but we're gonna do critical strike chance and then a double here. The grandfather multiplies all your critical strike damage by 100%. So if you look right here and you take the grandfather off, we go down to 2400, you put it back on, you go all the way up to 5000. Let me finish putting the planner together. We're almost done, and then I'll show you the gear a little bit more, and then that'll show you resistances and stuff. But the cap resistance is from Tyrael's Might. It allows you to go over your resistances. So, and then there's a whole bunch of other things that will allow you to go over. But your gear can only take you through. So for the Grandfather, despite popular opinion, damage is really not a great stat to be using. It's just more additive damage. So you'll get more out of going max life here than anything else. If you're not hitting everything on your Paragon board, you could shoot for all stats. But we're just going to triple max life just because there's really not much else in there that's great. Actually, we won't triple it. We'll do this here. So the weapon type, we're going to be running swords for the critical strike damage. And then we want... This is pretty standard here. You're going to go max life, strength, and then critical strike damage. And then for the tempers, on this one here, we're running the Dust Devil size. Oh wait, we didn't do the bludgeoning weapon, did we? Oh no, we're on dual weapon 1. Okay. Dust Devil size, and the reason we're going with size is because of this aspect here. You get 1% increased damage per size. So if we get up to 100%, it's 100% increased damage on your size to your weapon there. Yes, I have. But that's, and we were just talking about Berserk Ripping earlier when I was putting it on. If you hop into the Discord server with us, we made a post about Berserk Ripping and what works with it and what doesn't work with it. And it's not that adaptability isn't working with it, it's that it's not increasing your base skill damage with adaptability, so it doesn't affect Berserk Ripping. So it's still going, adaptability still will, if you're running a straight bash build, which I do, and I just tested it out tonight and I posted a video of it. Adaptability on the amulet still increases the damage of bash. So my bash build is not a bleed build. So having adaptability on the amulet actually does increase the damage for it. So for this one, we're running not Berserk Ripping, we're running Dust Devil size and then critical strike damage. So we're going to put critical strike damage on here, and then we're going to run Dust Devil size. So the size is actually pretty important. And I don't, and maybe somebody knows this, but the Dust Devil size from your gear and your tempers caps out at 100%. But I believe that you can go over that 100% through other things like aspects. Dust Devil, chance to cast, okay. Dust Devil size. So one of these you want to run. Oh, but a lot of people have it going straight to 100% with the Dust Devil builds, but I think you can go up to 120%. So if you wanted to take that to 120%, you can. But we're just going to do a single, and then we're going to do a double, because that'll get me to, actually I'm at 90, so I'm at 110% right here already. So I'm almost actually capped with a single and a double. So we're just going to do a single for Dust Devil size, and then we're going to do a double for critical strike damage. For the other weapon, same thing. We're running a sword, because you want the critical strike damage. And swords or weapons are pretty easy. Max life, strength, and then critical strike damage. And then on the other weapon, Dust Devil size again, and then critical strike damage again. So it's going to be exactly the same. And let's find the rogue one. Critical strike damage from the rogue, and then Dust Devil size, which is down towards the bottom, I believe. Yeah, right here, Wasteland. No, wait, that's ground stomp size. Dust Devil size. We got 2 here, and then 1 here. Bludgeoning weapon. But only use a mace. Same thing. Pretty self-explanatory. I don't like doing it in that order. I like doing it in this order. Max life. Strength. I'm not OCD. You're OCD. And then for this one, we're actually going to be running chance to cast twice for Dust Devils, and critical strike damage here. So critical strike damage for the rogues. And then chance to cast Dust Devils twice. So when you guys go to follow somebody that's doing a build guide, and you look at their build guide, and it's a little wrong, or there's something that's kind of off, cut them some slack. Because we've been doing this for how long, and this is just the first page. We haven't even done the Paragon board. We haven't done the skills. Fortunately, I did the Paragon board already, so that's all done. But it takes a long time. It's pretty time consuming, and it's very easy to miss something. Like I missed these tempers here. It's very easy to do it. So cut them some slack. And then so for here, I want to run two into Dust Devils and then one into critical strike damage, but on the temper, because the temper goes much higher. So if you see the main affix and the weapon is only up to 145, but the temper on the for critical strike damage is 289. So you want to temper that one. So this is probably the most time consuming part of putting this together, is getting all your tempers in right and getting all of that stuff done. So we're going to go two here, one here, and then two here. I just don't have Starless Sky. You could, so actually this is the ring that I'm running here, and oh wait, this is a different build, but you would run basically just, so you could run whatever the ring that I had set up for that build. I just said to double that one, but what do you mean by CHC or CHD? Okay, so we're gonna save this. So this is going to be your first setup here. We have our weapon setup, we have our technique, looks like we have all of our tempers in. So now for the skill tree. Crit damage and okay, so skill tree. This one, I think I probably know it already, but we're gonna just do this. Okay, so we got, whoops, do that. So we're just gonna take 2 into Lunging Strike because that's just classic. And then, Whirlwind. We went into, Carlos has lucky hit. Good chance. Yeah, if you're running into issues for Fury, then you might want either resource cost reduction or rings can get Fury on kill, right? Something like that. You could do something like that. Even resource generation would work. And then we're not going to take either of these here. We probably could to add a little bit more, but we're just going to run 2 points here. Hammer of the Ancients is going to go all the way down through Overpower. So this is going to give us our 30% we were talking about. And then we're running 3 points in the pressure point just to add a little bit of lucky hit to vulnerable. We're doing Imposing Presence, 3 points, Martial Vigor for more damage reduction. Life, damage reduction against elites. So this will affect those big packs that you're pulling. So this is where you get to choose right now. So I'm running Leap as a choice for my Fury generation because this will give me 40 every time I leap. If you're running into issues with Fury generation, this is an option for you right here. You take your Tactical Rallying Cry because it initially generates 20 for you. So a lot of people, when you start your dungeon run, this is the first thing that people pop so that it gives you your boost of Fury so that you can start attacking. It also gives you 20% resource generation. So while this is active, you're generating more Fury from all sources. Now you generate Fury from attacking, you generate Fury from your from being hit also. So if you look at your Fury bar here, it tells you how you generate Fury. Generate Fury using certain skills or taking damage. So if you pop Rallying Cry and you start taking damage, you're going to generate a ton of Fury. That is an option for you to take if you wanted to take it, but I don't run this here. I have enough Fury generation, so I'm going to put, and with Whirlwind HotA, as long as you have your initial Fury generation, you're going to generate enough Fury that you don't have to worry about it too much at all. So we're going to go into Strategic Rallying Cry. This is going to be our biggest source of Fortify. We're going to do 1 point at here. Actually, I don't even think I have any points there. But I think that I'm running, yeah, since we're running the Harlequin's Crest, we're not running any points here. If you aren't running it, then you can just sacrifice a point somewhere else. But we're not going to take any points, but we are going to run Challenging Shout. But remember, you're running a Harlequin's Crest, so you can use these abilities because it has 4 points into it. For Warcry, we're going to be going all the way down into Power Warcry. If you have to switch your strategic Rallying Cry to Tactical Rallying Cry for that resource generation, you have the option of taking Power Warcry and switching it to Mighty Warcry. This will give you 15% of your life as Fortify every time you use it. So this is also a really good source of Fortify generation if you can't use it. So we're going to go, but I'm going to keep this just like this here. We are going to be running, let's go ahead and pull this up here so that it'll see it too. So I have ranks of Warcry on my boots, and I also have the Harlequin's Crest, so we're running 10 ranks, which is really nice. We're running Booming Voice. This is going to increase the duration of all of our shouts, and this is where things start to get fun. We're running Raid Leader. The Raid Leader is going to heal while our shouts are up for 3%. Remember, we're also running Undying on our pants. So we're healing 3%. We're also healing for 2% or 2% of your life while you cast a skill. So you actually start to heal quite a bit running this. We'll go back down here. I have Warcry on my boots. And then we're running Guttural Yell, which this one actually you probably could swap out if you wanted to. So because we're not running a build, oh, that's fine. No, you're good. Because we're not running a build like Flay, where we're shouts are up 100% of the time, you could take those 3 points out and then you put them in the Fury generation if you're running into some issues here, or you put the points into Swiftness. So we're going to do this for now for speed running purposes. We're going to go into Swiftness here. And then we're going to leave it out of Guttural Yell. But that's an additional damage, 12% damage reduction if you need it for when your shouts are up. Leap, we're going to go all the way down through our Leap. This is going to be where we get our initial generation from. 40 generation, 40 Fury times whatever our resource generation is a full bar. As soon as I leap, I get over 100 Fury, not 40, because I have enough resource generation to give me that. I took aggressive resistance here because we should be berserking 100% of the time. So that's 12% DR all the time. DR is incredibly important. Don't miss out on it. Don't wait. If you feel yourself dying, swap your glyphs out for glyphs that give you DR. It is a very important. We're going to be doing 3 points in the Battle Fervor so that every time we leap, we gain berserking. Because we're berserking, we're also be getting 12% DR. If you're running into Fury issues, hey, thank you for the follow, Spatty. Welcome. If you're running the Fury issues, you put 3 points here, because now while we're berserking, we're going to be running additional 18% resource generation. Yeah, DR is... if you're not running a basic skill build, because basic skills you can run Might, and then you can get additional 20% extra. But if you're not running basic skill like this one here, or like any of the Whirlwind builds, anywhere you can get DR is incredibly important. So we went 3 points into Pit Fighter, because this gives me some damage well close, and then distant damage reduction, which is nice. Roll down a little bit. We are running Bleed, so we're taking 1 point into Hamstring so we can unlock Cut to the Bone. So we get 15%, your bleeding effects deal 15% increased damage to vulnerable enemies. that was why we went up and we took pressure point, because we're not going to have 100% uptime on vulnerable, so the more we can do that, the better. Maybe that's why I've been having some boss fights that start off with a ton of bleed. And then 1 point into thick skin. If you had to switch out right to your power Warcry to mighty Warcry and then your resource generation here, then you can put more points into thick skin, give yourself more fortified generation. And then counteroffensive when we're over 50% fortified, which if you're running strategic rallying cry, you're always going to have fortify up, so you'll get that 12% increased damage. And then down for the final part, we're going to be doing 1 point into Tempered Fury. And now this is really important here. We have to have Furious Impulse. Every time, and I'll show you guys this, we'll do a run and we'll hit some training dummies just so you can see what it does. But every time that you swap weapons, you're getting 6 Fury times your resource generation. So that 6 could turn into 15, 20, 25, whatever your resource generation is, depending on, it's probably not going to be that high, but that on top of Weapon Master is very big. I had an extra point, so I put it into all up, but if you want to, you could always put that like into this, so gain an additional 3% life when we're spending for 100 Fury, which we're going to spend Fury pretty fast with this build. And then 3 points into Heavy-Handed for some extra critical strike damage, which I must have overspent somewhere, so we're going to take that out and put this into Gushing Wounds. Where did I overspend? I overspent somewhere. Why is this acting up? Here. Overspent, maybe. And hey, how's it going? How many points do I have here? Oh, wait, do I only have 1 here? Oh, I only have 1 point in the Imposing Presence because I have 6 points from there. So actually, we could do that too. So we need Heavy-Handed. Honestly, this is not a lot of DR. Go here. All right, that's fine. I think I'm happy with that. You guys happy with that? That looks like a pretty solid build. Gushing Wounds. Gushing Wounds, this is why you need high critical strike damage and high critical strike chance. If you're running a Whirlwind Bleed build, a Bash Bleed build, or this incredibly fun Whirlwind HotA build, if you don't have high critical strike chance, you will not get any benefit from Gushing Wounds. Gushing Wounds takes your critical strike chance, and then that's how often you apply Gushing Wounds. Gushing Wounds takes 140% of your critical strike damage bonus, which if you saw, I have 5,000 times 140%. So that's what, an extra 2,000-ish? So 7,000 critical strike, and well, 7,000% goes into your bleed. So if your bleed hits for 1, now your bleed hits for 7,000. Easy math, because we don't do math here at all. So when you're running builds like this, your goal is to get to at least 75%. Now, if you're running lower than that and you're having issues getting there, that's why we put emeralds into the weapon. Thank you, Aiko. Thank you. My bad. I needed that, honestly. So putting emeralds into your weapon increases by about 2%, a little bit more than 2% per emerald. If you're not dying, adding emeralds is a great way to increase your critical strike chance. So I never really go anything over the 80%. It's very high, and I can get extra damage by adding strength gems instead of adding the emeralds, which are dex gems. So I normally stick around 80%, and then I start adding extra strength in, because then I get that skill modifier here. So so that's it. That's all set. So let's save the changes here. That is it. I already have the Paragon board all set. This is already done. This is running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boards, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 legendary nodes. Oh nope, I'm about to go do it right now. Yep, yeah. So if you're not running Holy Bolts, you can also run an elixir. Let's see if I have one in here. My bags are really organized. That's attack speed, which actually is really good too for this right here. So an additional 6% right here if you need to. And extra critical strike damage. So it is just additive damage. So it's not doesn't give you 35% on top of everything. It just adds 35% to your big stat line already. So that's an option. I always run holy bolts. So, all right, I'm gonna